Dr. Smith stood frozen before the massive holographic display, his three-fingered hands trembling as he studied the energy readings from the small blue planet. In his centuries of working for the Galactic Council's research division, he had never seen anything like this. "Computer, run the scan again," he ordered, his outer membrane flickering with shades of worried purple. The massive quantum computer hummed softly, its crystalline processors analyzing the data streaming in from the scout probes orbiting the primitive world called Earth. "Scan complete," the computer announced. "Results unchanged. Detecting massive neural energy waves across all major population centers. Pattern matches no known species in the database." Smith slowly settled into his hover chair, all four of his eyes fixed on the pulsing red zones that covered the planet's populated regions. According to the readings, these humans were somehow generating synchronized waves of neural energy, powerful enough to be detected from orbit. Even more disturbing, they seemed completely unaware they were doing it. "Show me visual feed from Probe 7, he commanded. The holographic display shifted, showing a crowded human gathering space, something called a mall. Smith watched as hundreds of humans moved about their daily activities. Everything seemed normal, until something happened near one of the food dispensaries. A human male carrying a drink slipped and fell, the liquid spraying in an arc through the air. Instead of showing concern or fear, the surrounding humans did something extraordinary. They began producing sharp, rhythmic vocalizations, while their faces contorted in what Smith's xenobiology training suggested was pleasure rather than pain. The energy readings spiked dramatically. "Computer, what just happened?" Smith asked, his membrane now pulsing with scientific curiosity. "Neural energy surge detected. Humans appear to be engaging in synchronized emotional broadcasting through vocalization and facial movements. Behavior categorized as laughter in human databases." Smith felt his primary heart skip a beat. Emotional broadcasting was one of the most carefully regulated activities in the galaxy. Every advanced civilization had learned to control and suppress it millennia ago, after the psychic wars nearly destroyed all sentient life. Yet these humans were not only broadcasting their emotions freely, they were somehow synchronizing their neural patterns to create powerful psychic resonances. And they were doing it by accident. "Computer, calculate the potential psychic energy output if all humans on the planet engaged in this laughter simultaneously." The computer was silent for several moments. "Error. Calculated output exceeds maximum measurable parameters. Theoretical model suggests a planet-wide laugh event would generate enough psychic energy to disrupt spacetime on a localized level." Smith quickly encoded his findings and sent an urgent message to the Galactic Council. Within minutes, his communication crystal pulsed with an incoming priority response. "Research Division, your report is most disturbing." The Council Elder's voice echoed in Smith's mind. "You believe these humans pose a threat?" "Unknown, Elder," Smith replied carefully. "They appear to have no awareness of their capabilities. The behavior seems linked to their social bonding and emotional expression. What we're detecting may be just a fraction of their potential." There was a long pause before the Elder spoke again. "We cannot risk another psychic war. These humans must be studied carefully. We are dispatching Observer Gray to establish a covert observation post on Earth. You will continue monitoring from orbit and report any significant changes in their emotional broadcasting patterns." "Understood, Elder. But there's something else you should know." Smith's membrane darkened with concern. "The strongest energy readings we've detected are coming from gatherings of their young. Human children appear to generate the most powerful resonances when they engage in this laughter." The silence that followed was heavy with implications. Finally, the Elder spoke. "May the Void help us all if they ever learn to control this power. Continue your observations. Research Division. Council out." Smith turned back to the holographic display, watching the humans go about their lives, completely unaware that their capacity for joy had just terrified one of the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. Somewhere on Earth, another burst of laughter sent energy readings spiking across his instruments, and Smith wondered what other surprises this remarkable species had in store for the galaxy. Observer Gray hated his human disguise. The artificial skin itched, and walking on only 2 legs felt horribly unbalanced. But after 3 days on Earth, he had to admit the disguise worked perfectly. No one in New York City looked twice at him, especially in his chosen outfit of what humans called a business suit. Tonight's mission had brought him to a small building with a neon sign reading Larry's Comedy Club. Dr. Smith's orbital scans had detected particularly strong emotional broadcasts from places like this, and Gray needed to understand why. He paid the entry fee and found a seat in the back corner, trying to mimic how the other humans held their drinks. The room was dimly lit, with a small raised platform at the front. A stage, according to his research. A human male walked onto the stage, grabbed something called a microphone, and began speaking. Gray activated his neural recording equipment, determined to document everything. "So my wife told me I need to be more mature," the human on stage said. Then she got mad when I replied, "Hi, more mature, I'm Dad." The room erupted. Gray's sensors overloaded instantly. The wave of neural energy that swept through the room was unlike anything in his centuries of experience. Dozens of humans, all broadcasting pure emotional energy simultaneously, their neural patterns somehow synchronizing and amplifying each other. His outer membrane, hidden beneath the artificial skin, began to vibrate painfully. The translator implant in his brain struggled to process the mixture of joy, surprise, and something else, something unique to humans that he couldn't quite identify. Another human took the stage. "I told my doctor I broke my arm in 2 places. He told me to stop going to those places." The energy wave hit again, stronger this time. Gray felt his secondary nervous system beginning to shut down, a defensive response to the psychic overload. The humans around him showed no signs of discomfort as they continued their rhythmic vocalizations, their laughter. He needed to leave, but his curiosity kept him rooted to the spot. This was why the council had chosen him. Even in the face of danger, he had to understand. Gray forced himself to focus through the discomfort. There was a pattern here. The humans on stage were creating what they called jokes, seemingly illogical statements or stories that violated expected patterns of thought. And each time they did, the audience responded with this synchronized emotional broadcast. But why? What evolutionary advantage could this serve? The next wave hit before he could ponder further. A young woman near him was laughing so hard she had tears in her eyes. Gray's sensors detected her neural output was twice that of the others. The genuine joy she was experiencing had somehow amplified her broadcast strength. That's when Gray noticed something even more disturbing. His supposedly shielded communication device was malfunctioning, its quantum circuits disrupted by the waves of human emotional energy. The device was designed to withstand solar flares and electromagnetic pulses, yet simple human laughter was causing it to glitch. He stumbled out of the comedy club, his artificial legs shaking. Once outside, he leaned against the wall, waiting for his systems to stabilize. His research notes were already uploading to the Council's secure servers, but he added an urgent personal observation. The humans are not wielding this power consciously. They have developed no shielding, no control mechanisms, because they don't even realize what they're doing. They broadcast these powerful neural energies as naturally as they breathe. But most concerning of all, they seem to actively seek opportunities to trigger these synchronized emotional events. They build special venues for it. They gather in groups specifically to laugh together. The implications are staggering. As if to emphasize his point, another wave of laughter burst through the club's walls. Gray's membrane shuddered beneath his artificial skin. He had to continue his research, but he would need stronger shielding. Much stronger. Inside the club, blissfully unaware of the alien observer's distress, the humans continued to laugh, their combined joy sending ripples through the consciousness field that the most advanced races in the galaxy had spent millennia learning to control. Observer Gray sat in his hidden laboratory beneath an abandoned subway station in New York, staring at the results of his latest tests. Around him, 3 of his most advanced sensors had completely stopped working after this morning's experiment. A 4th was giving readings that made no sense at all. He replayed the recording from the park. The sound of children laughing on the playground filled his lab, and immediately the working sensor's display went wild. Computer, analyze neural pattern from recording 47. Gray commanded, his membrane flickering with excitement despite his fatigue. The computer's response was immediate. Neural pattern shows unique characteristics. Humans are unconsciously accessing the consciousness field through synchronized emotional outputs. Gray leaned forward. The consciousness field, that was what his people had learned to control over thousands of years of evolution. Every advanced species knew about it. Every advanced species had learned to suppress their connection to it. Every species except humans. He opened a communication channel to Dr. Smith in orbit. Are you seeing this data? Yes, Smith's voice crackled through. It's impossible, but the evidence is clear. When humans laugh, they're not just making sound. They're literally punching holes in the consciousness field. And they have no idea they're doing it. Gray added, no shielding, no control, no awareness. It's like finding a primitive species that plays with antimatter for fun. A new alert flashed on his screen. One of his probes near Times Square was picking up unusual readings. Gray quickly switched to its live feed. A street performer was juggling and telling jokes, drawing a crowd. As the humans laughed, the probe's sensors showed massive spikes in consciousness field activity. But there was something else, something even more disturbing. Smith, are you seeing the pattern in these energy waves? Yes, Smith's voice was tense. They're almost identical to the weapon signatures from the ancient psychic wars, the same frequency that could disable entire fleets and drive crews insane. But these humans, they're producing these waves by accident, while having fun. Gray watched as more humans joined the crowd. Each new laugh made the energy waves stronger, building on each other. His sensors showed the waves spreading through the consciousness field, creating ripples that extended far beyond Earth. Wait, Gray said suddenly. Check the reading from probe 12. There was a pause as Smith accessed the data. By the void, he whispered. The waves are affecting our equipment. Not just the sensors. They're interfering with the quantum AI systems. Gray quickly checked his own systems. Smith was right. Every piece of advanced technology in his lab was showing subtle signs of consciousness field interference. Technology that was supposed to be completely shielded from psychic energy. The Council needs to know about this immediately, Smith said. If human laughter can affect our AI systems, it gets worse. Gray interrupted. I've been studying their entertainment broadcasts. Humans have entire buildings dedicated to making people laugh. Theaters, clubs, concert halls, and they're building more all the time. Have you noticed any pattern to when their broadcasts are strongest? Gray nodded, forgetting for a moment that Smith couldn't see him. Yes, the strongest emissions come from genuine, spontaneous laughter, especially from children. The more natural and uncontrolled the laughter, the more powerful the consciousness field disruption. The implications were staggering. Everything the advanced species had learned about controlling and suppressing their connection to the consciousness field. Humans did the opposite. They amplified it, shared it, strengthened it by joining together in laughter. One more thing, Gray added. I've detected traces of these energy patterns in their music, their dance, even their sports celebrations. Laughter might just be the strongest expression, but humans are broadcasting through the consciousness field in ways we never thought possible. As if to emphasize his point, another wave of laughter-induced energy washed through his lab, causing 3 more sensors to shut down completely. Somewhere above, in the city streets, humans went about their day, sharing jokes and laughing together, completely unaware that their joy was becoming one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy. The Global Comedy Festival was supposed to be a celebration of human humor. Instead, it became the event that changed the galaxy's view of Earth forever. Observer Gray had tried to warn them. When he learned about the festival, a massive gathering of comedy performers and audiences across multiple cities. He'd sent urgent messages to the Galactic Council, but no one had believed that simple human laughter could pose a real threat. Now, watching his monitoring screens from his underground lab, Gray knew they had made a terrible mistake. All observation posts, report status. He called out through the emergency channel. The responses came back filled with static. Post 2, systems failing. Post 5, neural shields collapsing. Post 8, requesting immediate evacuation. In Times Square alone, over 50,000 humans had gathered for the comedy festival's main event. Similar crowds filled parks and venues in London, Tokyo, Sydney, and 20 other major cities, all laughing together, all broadcasting their joy into the consciousness field simultaneously. Gray's most powerful sensor exploded in a shower of sparks. Through his observation screens, he could see the waves of psychic energy growing stronger by the second. The consciousness field was lighting up like a star-going supernova. "Orbital station, do you copy?" Gray called desperately. "Smith, are you there?" The response was broken, barely audible through the interference. "Gray, it's everywhere." The field disruption, spreading beyond Earth orbit. Ships in the outer system, reporting equipment failures. A new alert flashed on Gray's last working screen. The quantum AI systems that managed faster-than-light communications across 3 sectors of the galaxy were going dark. The ripples from human laughter were spreading through the consciousness field at impossible speeds, disrupting everything they touched. "We've lost contact with the Council," Smith's voice crackled. "The main communication network's air. The transmission cut off." Gray's final monitoring screen went black. Even his personal neural shields were starting to fail, letting him feel the full force of the human's emotional broadcast. The joy, the delight, the pure, unfettered happiness, it was overwhelming. Through the ceiling of his bunker, he could hear the crowds above roaring with laughter at some shared joke. Each wave hit him like a physical force. His outer membrane was vibrating so intensely it threatened to tear. 4 of his fellow observers had already collapsed, their minds overwhelmed by the uncontrolled psychic energy. Gray managed to activate his emergency beacon before his own consciousness began to fade. The last thing he saw on his backup screen was the consciousness field activity spreading across the solar system like a tidal wave. Hours later, when Council emergency teams finally restored enough systems to assess the damage, the numbers were staggering. Over 300 observation devices destroyed, 42 alien observers requiring emergency psychic treatment, communication networks disrupted across a quarter of the galaxy, 3 Council AI systems completely offline, all because humans had gathered together to tell jokes and laugh. In an emergency session, the Council's chief scientist presented the final analysis. The humans achieved something our weapons never could during the psychic wars. Their combined laughter, amplified through the consciousness field, briefly created a resonance cascade that our shields were never designed to handle. Because it wasn't an attack, it was pure, uncontrolled joy. The Council chamber erupted in fearful whispers. If this was what humans could do by accident, what would happen if they ever learned to control this power? Back on Earth, as cleanup crews replaced the mysteriously broken electronics around Times Square, a street performer made a young girl laugh. The sound rang out clear and pure, sending tiny ripples through the consciousness field. In his damaged lab, recovering from neural shock, Observer Gray recorded his final note. "The humans have shown us something we never expected, that our greatest achievement, our perfect control over the consciousness field, might actually be our greatest weakness. In learning to suppress our emotions, we forgot the raw power of pure joy." Above ground, the humans of Earth continued laughing, unaware that they had just been classified as one of the most powerful and terrifying species in the galaxy. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so full. Representatives from over 1,000 worlds sat in the towering crystal amphitheater, their membranes flickering with different colors of worry and fear. At the center of the chamber, A hologram of Earth slowly rotated, seemingly peaceful and harmless. Council Leader White stood at the primary podium, all four arms raised for silence. We have gathered today to address the Earth crisis. Dr. Smith will present his findings. Smith floated to the podium, still showing signs of neural strain from the comedy festival incident. His usual purple membrane had faded to a sickly gray. Honored Council, he began, the data is clear. Human laughter is not just a sound or a simple emotional broadcast. It is a natural force we never imagined possible. During the recent incident, their combined laughter generated more psychic energy than a Class 5 consciousness weapon. The chamber erupted in frightened murmurs. Classified weapons had been banned after nearly destroying all intelligent life during the psychic wars. And the humans do this for fun? Asked a representative from the Silicon worlds, their crystalline form vibrating with disbelief. Not only for fun, Smith continued. They consider it essential to their well-being. They seek out opportunities to laugh. They gather in groups specifically to share this experience. And most troubling of all, he paused, his membrane darkening. Their young do it with even greater power. Observer Gray, now recovered enough to attend, stepped forward. I have witnessed human children at play. Their laughter is pure, uncontrolled, and up to 3 times more powerful than adult broadcasts. They can disrupt our most advanced technology with a single burst of genuine joy. The council chamber descended into chaos. Representatives shouted suggestions from all sides. We must quarantine their entire solar system. No, we should help them control this power. They're too dangerous to contact. What if they spread to other worlds? Council Leader White raised all 4 arms again. We have 3 options before us. First, immediate containment of Earth using consciousness field barriers. Second, establish contact and teach them to control their emotional broadcasting. Third, leave them alone but establish a galaxy-wide warning system. A representative from the energy beings flickered brightly. Containment is impossible. Their broadcasts already reach far beyond their solar system. The comedy festival proved that. And teaching them control could backfire. Added another council member. What if they learn to use this power intentionally? A species that can naturally generate this much psychic energy. There's something else you should know. Gray interrupted. His voice was quiet, but it carried through the chamber. In my time on Earth, I discovered that laughter is just the beginning. Their music, their dance, their art, all of it generates similar energy in the consciousness field. At a smaller scale, yes, but still far beyond what should be possible for an uncontrolled species. The chamber fell silent. The implications were staggering. Humans weren't just dangerous because of their laughter. Their entire way of life was built around emotional expression that could shake the consciousness field. We're looking at this wrong, said a voice from the back. All eyes turned to see Elder Green, one of the oldest council members. We're treating this as a threat because it's beyond our control. But perhaps that's exactly why it's important. When was the last time any of us laughed freely, without restraint? When did we decide that control was more important than joy? The council members looked at each other uncomfortably. It had been so long that most couldn't remember. The humans have shown us something we forgot. Elder Green continued. The raw power of uncontrolled emotion. Perhaps instead of fearing it, we should learn from it. The hologram of Earth continued its slow rotation in the chamber's center, its billions of inhabitants still laughing, still sharing joy, still sending ripples through the consciousness field that made the most powerful beings in the galaxy tremble. The debate was far from over, but one thing was clear. Humanity had changed the galaxy forever, simply by being themselves. Junior researcher Blue wasn't supposed to be in the main laboratory. Fresh out of the academy, he was only assigned to sort data files from the Earth observations. But late one night, while everyone else had gone to rest, he noticed something in the readings that no one else had seen. Computer, can you combine all laughter recordings with their consciousness field patterns? Blue asked, his membrane rippling with excitement. The computer hummed. Hundreds of recordings played simultaneously. Children in playgrounds, comedy club audiences, family gatherings, friends sharing jokes. The consciousness field patterns danced across the screen in complex ways. Now overlay the patterns from other emotional broadcasts. Blue commanded. Love, fear, anger, sadness, everything we've recorded from Earth. The patterns filled the screen, a chaos of colors and waves. But Blue saw it, right there in the data, so obvious that everyone had missed it. He was so excited that he broke protocol and called Dr. Smith directly. "This better be important," Smith grumbled, his hologram flickering into view. "Look at the pattern." Blue pointed to his screen. Every other emotional broadcast from Earth follows the standard rules. The energy disperses into the consciousness field. But laughter doesn't disperse. It connects. Smith's membrane changed from annoyed gray to interested purple. "Explain." "When humans laugh together, they're not just broadcasting emotions. They're creating a temporary network in the consciousness field. Every person who joins in strengthens the network. That's why it can affect our technology. It's not just raw energy, it's organized energy." Smith floated closer to his hologram projector. "But that's impossible. The consciousness field can't sustain natural networks. That's why we had to learn to control it." "That's just it," Blue said, his membrane practically glowing. "We learned to control the field because we couldn't handle the natural connections. But humans never tried to control it. They just let it happen. And their brains evolved to handle it naturally." He sent more data to Smith. "Look at their children. The reason their laughter is so much stronger is that they have no mental barriers at all. They're completely open to the field, and instead of hurting them, it makes them stronger." Smith was silent for a long moment, studying the data. "If you're right, this changes everything we thought we knew about consciousness field physics." "It's not just physics," Blue said. "I checked their historical records. Humans have always known, somehow, that laughter is important. They have sayings like laughter is the best medicine and laughter brings people together. They didn't know about the consciousness field, but they understood its effects instinctively." "The Council needs to see this immediately," Smith said. But Blue wasn't finished. "There's more," he said. I think we made a huge mistake. Our civilization spent thousands of years learning to control and suppress our connection to the consciousness field. We thought it was dangerous. But look at what that control cost us." He played a recording of children laughing on a playground. The consciousness field pattern was beautiful, a complex network of joy and connection that spread to everyone nearby. "We forgot how to do this," Blue said quietly. "We forgot how to connect without fear. The humans haven't just preserved this ability. They've turned it into an art form. Their jokes, their comedy, their shared laughter. It's all about creating these connections." Smith's hologram flickered as he processed this. "Are you suggesting that human laughter isn't a weapon or a threat?" "It's a gift," Blue said. "The purest form of emotional connection possible through the consciousness field. And they do it naturally, joyfully, without even trying." As if to prove his point, a burst of laughter echoed from the Earth observation feed. The consciousness field pattern bloomed on the screen like a flower opening in the sun, complex, beautiful, and completely natural. "We've been so afraid of losing control," Blue said, "that we forgot what that control cost us. The humans didn't develop a weapon. They preserved something precious that the rest of us lost long ago, the ability to share joy freely, without fear." Through the observation screen, the Earth continued spinning, its people laughing, connecting, and sending waves of pure joy through a consciousness field that had forgotten how to dance. The Galactic Council's final session about Earth was different from any before. Instead of the usual formal arrangement, the representatives sat in a circle, inspired by what they had learned about human gatherings. Council Leader White had even relaxed the traditional rules about emotional control. After reviewing researcher Blue's findings, White announced, We face a decision unlike any in our history. Earth is not a threat to be contained. It is a mirror showing us what we have lost. The chamber was quiet. On the central display, images from Earth played silently. Children playing, friends sharing jokes, families celebrating together. Each burst of laughter sent gentle ripples through the consciousness field, visible to all present. Dr. Smith floated forward, his membrane now a healthy purple again. We've prepared the galaxy-wide warning as requested, but perhaps we should change its message. He activated his data crystal, and a new message appeared. Warning. Sol System, Earth. Classification. Preserved natural wonder. Status. Protected. Note. Home to naturally occurring consciousness field phenomena. Citizens of advanced species may experience strong emotional resonance. Preparation recommended. Instead of warning people away, Smith explained, we're inviting them to prepare for something remarkable. Observer Gray, now recovered from his experiences on Earth, stepped into the circle. During my time among humans, I learned something important. They have a word, contagious. They use it to describe their laughter, saying laughter is contagious. They don't know they're actually describing a consciousness field network effect, but they understand it instinctively. As if demonstrating his point, a new recording played from Earth, a baby's first laugh. The pure joy in that simple sound made several council members' membranes flutter with unexpected emotion. Then something extraordinary happened. In the back of the chamber, a young aide suddenly made a sound that hadn't been heard in the council chamber for thousands of years. It started small, a tiny vibration in their membrane, then grew into what could only be described as a laugh. The sound was unpracticed, raw, but unmistakable. Several older council members looked shocked, but others felt something stir in their ancient memories. One by one, other small laughs joined in, hesitant at first, then growing stronger. Elder Green, who had advocated for learning from humans, felt tears of joy forming in all four eyes. "Do you understand now?" he asked. "This is what we sacrificed for our advancement. We thought we had to choose between control and chaos. The humans found another way." Blue, now promoted to full researcher, activated the final part of his presentation. Earth will change us, not through invasion or warfare, but through reminder. Already, some of our younger citizens are rediscovering these abilities. Small meditation groups are forming, practicing what they call free emotional expression. And the consciousness field? Someone asked. Growing stronger, Blue replied. But not in the way we feared. The humans are showing us that it was never meant to be controlled or suppressed. It's a network for sharing joy, for connecting hearts and minds. Their laughter isn't a weapon. It's an invitation to remember who we once were. The Council's final resolution was unprecedented. Earth would be protected, not contained. Human laughter would be classified as a natural wonder, not a threat. And most surprisingly, carefully monitored cultural exchange programs would be established. As the session ended, Observer Gray shared one last observation. The humans have a saying, laugh, and the world laughs with you. They had no idea that the world would one day include the galaxy itself. Somewhere on Earth, at that exact moment, a child told a silly joke to her friend. They laughed together, their joy rippling through the consciousness field, touching minds and hearts across the stars. And for the first time in millennia, the galaxy was learning to laugh again. In the end, what had terrified an advanced civilization turned out to be exactly what they needed. A reminder that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe is simply the sound of shared joy, echoing across the consciousness field, bringing light to the darkness between the stars.